Hello, and welcome to episode 19 of the Shadow Cold podcast, and this is another one of those experimental episodes, because we did one of these before where we attempted to stream not only on YouTube, but on Twitch at the same time. We had a little bit of problems with the frame rates, but I think I fixed some of that problem. But we are also tonight streaming on not only here on YouTube, but also on my Twitter to see if we can get more traction. But yes, it's me, Scott, and Walt here, and Walt looks like he's about to collapse.
Oh, super slow frame rate right there.
Oh.
What that?
Not that it was slow, it's that they were dropping the last time.
Whoa, hey!
Damn it all.
That calls for a Vince McMahon babyface laugh.
What the hell? But anyway, so yes, episode 19, the last episode of the month, because the next 2 weeks I will not be here. I will be on this cross-country adventure, but we will be back for Halloween month, October, where, as far as we know, the plan is we're going to do Halloween Havoc 89, then we're going to do Evolution, then Halloween Havoc 93, then Bound for Glory 2005, probably. And then we end off October Halloween month with Halloween Havoc 98.
Which might be November 1st.
Yeah, because we won't be here for Halloween Day.
Just get it out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just going to go ahead and announce that the last episode for Halloween month will be November 1st. Before we get into Survivor Series month. More on that later. Because tonight, we're talking our first TNA pay-per-view on this show, and since we're pretty much right at the 15th anniversary of this pay-per-view happening, TNA Unbreakable 2005 from September 11th, 2005, in good old Orlando at the Impact Zone in Universal Studios. Oh, the memories of the Impact Zone, but I guess to kind of give a little bit of perspective of where the company was at this point. Well, the company's starting to get a little bit hot at this point. I always considered 2005 to be the golden year for TNA as far as getting more fans, getting more talent, whether they were ex-WWE guys or from the independent scene. And with them, the year prior, going back and forth between the Impact Zone and the Asylum, and then eventually settling to go to the Impact Zone full-time. They get a syndicated television deal with Fox Sports Net to do Impact. But then just about a few weeks prior to this show, we get the announcement that TNA is going to be moving to Spike TV starting October 1st, which is huge considering Raw had just been on Spike and they were getting ready to go back to the USA Network, but Spike still wanted wrestling. And they're like, well, there's this secondary company that's starting to make some noise. Let's give them a platform of exposure, and early on...
probably a lot cheaper, too.
And a lot cheaper, too, considering they only were in one place, and they could tape the shows easily, and it's only a 1-hour show up at this point. Yeah. But yeah, so just a few weeks after this night, we get Impact on Spike TV going forward until about 2014, 2015 time period. So that's kind of where the TNA was at this point. They're starting to ascend up the mountain, especially with acquiring some new guys like Rhino coming over. We're just a little bit, few weeks shy of the Dudleys coming over, a couple months before Christian comes over, and a few months before Sting makes his wrestling return. So we're getting inching closer to more hot stuff going for TNA into 2006. So
yeah,
but this is a pinnacle. This is a pinnacle show.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly.
And here's the.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, here's the thing. The main event of the show is a blueprint has been a blueprint for 3-way matches. And there was another match that was considered a blueprint for another promotion a few years back from this one. And the significance of it is Chris Daniels was in both of them. I think Scott knows the other match I'm talking about.
You were kind of breaking up there. What was you were talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, what I was saying was the main event. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Just
Okay.
keep going in and out a little bit.
The main event for this match, for the show, pretty much set the blueprint for three-way matches to come in all promotions. But this match and another three-way match, I would say, would probably set the blueprint for three-way matches to come, especially in modern wrestling. And the significant thing is Christopher Daniels was in both of them. And I think Scott knows the first match I'm talking about.
No, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The first Ring of Honor show.
That was 2002.
No, I know. I said that match and this match both set the blueprint for three-way matches to come.
I thought you were meaning the same year. I'm like, yeah.
No.
The first Ring of Honor show was American Dragon, Low Key, Christopher Daniels. Yes. Yeah. So I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're...
But regardless, so before we get into everything else, let's talk a little bit about the numbers. Not that many considering it's TNA, but still worth talking. So they were at the Impact Zone with an attendance of 775, pay-per-view buys 15,000. As far as compared to the rest of the pay-per-views of 2005, the attendance was tied for third highest with Against All Odds, Destination X, Lockdown, Hard Justice, Slammiversary, No Surrender, and Sacrifice. Because there'd be a few shows that would get a little bit more. And then the pay-per-view buys was tied for the lowest with No Surrender and Sacrifice at 15,000. So even though maybe, obviously compared to WWE, it's crap, but for them, something.
Really good numbers,
and eventually the numbers would start going up later in the year, and then especially going into 2006. But now with those numbers out of the way...
Before we get to the fun stuff, let's also look at the creative side of TNA, because we're past the initial run with having like the full NWA association with the company, where they would bring in talents from other NWA affiliates. We're past Dusty Rhodes being a part of the booking. We're past Vince Russo, his first time being with the company. Mm-hmm. So now Scott D'Amore, I believe, is the guy who's mainly in charge of creative. And that's why you see such a great flow to the shows. You see such great talent being showcased early in the show. You see strong storylines happening throughout, and you have really dynamic main events. So that's a lot.
Wasn't Dutch involved in the booking as well?
Not at this point. No, not at this point. Okay. He's booking Puerto Rico at this point. Dutch wouldn't come in until around 2011, around there.
Oh, okay. I'm way off.
2011. I thought he came in like 2006 going into 2007.
I don't think it was that early. It was late 2000s, definitely, but he's not there at this point. It's just a reflection, though, of the creative aspect of the company at this time, too. Jim Cornette's not there yet. We know what happens with that, because that's when Vince Russo's there. Jeff Jarrett asked Jim to come on board. He already asked Dutch to come on board, and blah, blah, blah. And we see where that went later on. And then we're not even going to talk about the Bischoff-Hogan era.
The first 2 years of that, yes.
So, but yeah, this is a strong, like Levi said, this is like that 2004 to 2006 or 7 huge run that TNA would have at this time. And this is definitely the peak of that run. Yeah. So.
Well, I wouldn't say peak just yet. We're just a couple of shows away before we start.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
All right.
But now time for the foo.
Now it's time for the foo. And this show's got a lot of foo involved, folks. This has the most foo, I think, of any show we've done.
Oh, Lord.
So let's get into it for Unbreakable 2005. On this show, we have the six-sided ring. First time we get to say that. No. Nice. We have chain wrestling. We have lots of chops. We have 2 managers on the show. And we have blood. Now, there are a ton of moves on this show, and I was not going to list all the crazy moves happening. I just picked the ones that kind of stood out the most. So on the show, we have a K-Factor, 1 Brainbuster, 1 450 Splash, 1 Famouser. Gentlemen, I need help with this one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The
Pounce! Period. The Serengeti, brother!
Perfect. That was not planned. We have 1 Oh Canada, 2 Sharpshooters, 1 Crucifix Buckle Bomb, 1 Cradle Shock, 1 Shock Treatment, 1 black hole slam, 1 whisper in the wind, 1 twist of fate, 1 natural disaster, 3 even flow DDTs, 1 power bomb on the ladder, 1 springboard shooting star to the floor, 1 spiral tap, 1 twisting suicide dive, 1 muscle buster, 1 best moonsault ever, 1 last rites, and 1 styles clash. For the foo, we have guardrail foo, chair foo, table foo, thumbtack foo, hockey stick foo, trash can foo, cane foo, crutch foo, nunchuck foo, pizza cutter foo, pan foo, keg foo, staple gun foo, ladder foo, shopping cart foo, title foo, and just to be a smartass, 3 live foo, and Sabu foo.
Safu.
Safu.
Sabu foo.
Safu.
Makes more sense. Sabu foo makes more sense. And there you have it. Most foo we've ever had.
Holy hell, 3 live foo.
Shit ton of foo. 3 live foo. I had to throw it in there just to be a dick.
But anyways, with all the foo out of the way, let's get to the show itself. So it's a 9-match card. Plenty of matches for a 3-hour card.
A lot of matches.
Yeah, a lot of them, and we'll talk about them. And we're going to kick things off with a 6-man tag team match. We have the Diamonds in the Rough, Simon Diamond, Elix Skipper, and David Young, versus the 3 Live Foo, the 3 Live Crew, with Ron the Truth Killings, Conan, and BG James. What an odd grouping of guys, but yet it worked.
Yep.
Like, all 3 of them have a similar promo style where they have a little bit of a hip-hop flow to their speaking, but they're all from 3 different cultures. You have a Southern boy, you have a black guy, and a Mexican.
Yep.
And then yet they mesh together like bread and butter. Like
it worked.
It worked.
Not the most original name. It's like 5 guys call themselves the 5 Musketeers. You know.
Yeah.
The Lone Rangers.
Or the Lone Rangers. Yeah.
Thank you, Airheads.
That's
I love that movie.
Remember now too when the other interesting connection that we haven't gotten to the match yet, just with the team, is when R-Truth debuted in WWF. He was teamed up with Road Dogg. That's how he came in, and it's just creating that.
When he was K-Quick.
K-Quick. Yeah, yep, K-Quick. I was going to say Kid Crush, but no.
I thought that too.
K-Crush, yeah.
Yep, so there you go. And we got their opponents, which, Simon Diamond wouldn't wrestle much long after this. He would go into becoming an agent. Elix Skipper, we know he would go on with Team Canada and everything. And David Young, man, he was a good prospect at the time.
It was. They were pushing him as like an Arn Anderson type.
Yeah.
He had the Spine Buster for his finisher. They would call him the Messiah of the Spine Buster.
Yep. That was a big thing. He was big with the NWA Wildside, which was like the one strong NWA affiliate going on at the time. It's where AJ Styles came from. Bill Behrens was running that promotion, and Bill was like a high up with the NWA at the time. I don't know if he was president, but he was like the top guy when it came to promoters. And the funny thing about NWA Wildside, they had TV, but I remember, Walt, you remember when like Jim Tanner and a bunch of those guys went down there? Remember that whole thing? And they told us they did that TV in like a barn. And just the way they lit it and just the way they sat people made it look like there was a lot more people than there were, but it was only like 50 people there. And a bunch of big names came out of there at that time. It was crazy.
Vic Delicious took a road trip all the way down there to wrestle that guy Stone Mountain.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And he literally, when he got there, his match was like 10 minutes away. And the guy he was working with, I guess Stone Mountain didn't speak English. I think. I could be wrong. I've read the story. But yes, by the time he got there, there was 10 minutes before his match was starting. He got in the match. It was a quick squash. Got back in his car and then right back home.
Rolled right back home.
Drove all the way from Poughkeepsie, New York. I believe he was from Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, at the time he was living there.
Yeah,
that's
and drove down
16-hour drive.
Yep, down to Georgia. I'm not sure where Wildside took place exactly in Georgia. Still, it was about a 16-hour drive, maybe 18. Okay, got there for a quick 2-minute squash and got his payday and went right back home.
And you know what? That's not an uncommon tale. That happens a lot with guys getting spots. So it's that's the way how you pay your dues. Matter of fact, now I remember when I got to do one Ring of Honor show on the Ring Crew. Me and a couple guys crashed at a hotel, and it was down in like Philly area, southern New Jersey, and they had NWA Wildside on the television, so we got to see it then. That's like the only time I ever saw it in actual real time on television.
It used to come in. It used to come in on syndication on one of the syndicated channels right here in my hometown.
Oh wow,
State New York. That was the first match I ever saw was James Storm versus Chris Harris. Before they started teaming up.
Yeah,
they were having banger matches on the indie circuit against each other before.
We'll get to that later on. We'll get to that later on. But this is a basic 6-man tag. There's
really
nothing about it.
In all honesty, it felt more like a match that should have been on Impact rather than on pay-per-view.
Like a pre-show match.
And really, the only story you had going into was the slight dissension amongst 3 Live Crew because of Kip James kind of sticking his nose involved at the previous pay-per-view Sacrifice, and then eventually all bygones are bygones. BG, Conan, and Ron get back together, and well, there was really no doubt that they were not going to win. They ended up winning, beating Simon, Elix, and David in 4 minutes 20 seconds. Shortest match on the card.
I think Conan missed 3 kicks in this match. He goes to kick in the stomach at least twice, comes up really short, and then there's one other boot that happens that is way off his head. I remember that happening in this one.
It's kind of weird because by 15 years before this, in the early to mid 90s, Conan was looked at as a prospect, a prodigy, a guy who was going to be like one of the top wrestlers in the world.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, he got over, he got to the big leagues and all that. But he didn't get by on his wrestling ability. He got by on his charismatics and
he didn't get over. We saw him. I forget what show it was. Him against Flair, U.S. title
at Bash '96.
Thank you. Bad match. Doesn't get a good reaction. It's nothing there. Doesn't help put Conan over. It's not till he joins the Wolfpack, and starts doing this shtick that he starts getting over. And even then, it wasn't that fantastic. And this match,
it got annoying because he said the same thing over and
over again. He does the freaking rolling lariat thing twice in this match. And hello, Russell. Good to see you out there. He's on the chat. So this match is kind of like there. Nothing big about it. Baby faces win. People are happy. Moving on.
Yep. But now moving on to one of the bright spots on this show, we get basically an ROH match in TNA. We get Austin Aries versus Roderick Strong, and if I remember correctly, this was during a time when TNA and ROH were kind of in cahoots, so to speak, sharing talent.
Yeah,
and this would last until like 2007, 2006 time period. That was when they stopped working together.
Well, they were getting ROH put the kibosh on that, and Roderick went back to ROH, and Austin's like, I'm staying. So
I think it was I forget who. I thought it was TNA was starting to decide that they didn't want their talent working other places because they got the deal with Spike.
Right.
They wanted to have more exclusivity for their talent and didn't want them going back and forth. I think that's the deal. And Ring of Honor was getting pissed about that. Plus, this is right around the time Ring of Honor goes through a management change because Rob Feinstein, LOL, say you're 18, that thing goes down and he's out. At this point, I think Austin,
Kerry, I think Kerry something was in charge of Ring of Honor.
Kerry took over. He bought the company. Gabe is full on booking at this point because him, Doug, and Rob kind of all shared it at the beginning, like when Walter and I went as part of the ring crew. Gabe was more the figurehead, but all 3 of them were kind of a committee about it. And then I think at this time, Austin and Young are in a faction called Generation Next with Alex Shelley and
Jack Evans.
Thank you.
Jack Evans, yeah.
Yeah, which Shelley wouldn't last long because he, like you said, will make the jump to TNA full time because he saw a better opportunity. Can't blame him there. And Austin stayed behind. He beats Joe for the ROH World title. Ended 2005, 2006, somewhere around there. I forget what show it was.
Ending a huge run. Huge championship run.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, like you said, this was a Ring of Honor style match. It's crazy back and forth stuff.
And it was pretty good. It was a pretty good match between Aries and Strong. And it's so weird. It's like I'm so used to how Roderick Strong is now in WWE. I completely forgot he was in TNA for like a cup of coffee. For about, I think he only lasted about maybe 7 months at the very least. Because I remember seeing him and Aries team up at a pay-per-view early in 2006. And then after that, Roderick was just never seen from again in TNA. And I think, and he went back.
Oh, lost you.
I lost you for a second.
Oh, my damn.
There you go.
Mute
You're
button.
back. You're back.
You're good.
I hate this so much. Yeah. Sometimes whenever I accidentally hit the mute button right there,
Yep.
it's a pain in the ass sometimes. And sometimes whenever I hit it,
Be like that.
yeah, and sometimes whenever I hit to get it to unmute, it would still be muted. This thing is so stupid, but anyways.
Yep.
But in the end, Austin Aries beats Roderick Strong in 8 minutes flat. So there you have it with that. And one other thing to mention before we get into the next match, because it'll kind of tie in together. They show footage from the pre-show of Monty Brown coming out and making claim that he wants the next shot at the NWA World Title. Jeff Jarrett comes out in his gear and they hype up he wasn't even supposed to be in the arena. And he's like, no, I want the shot. And then they start fighting, and then Kip James tries to make peace, and Jeff Hardy comes out, and chaos ensues. So that kind of ties into this next match. Tag team match between Kip James and Monty Brown versus the randomly put together team of Apollo and Lance Hoyt, a.k.a. Lance Archer. Because
Lance Archer and look at him. Wow.
Yeah. Back then compared to now.
Folks, he's all natural.
All natural, yes. He was actually, it was supposed to be Sonny Siaki.
But they built up
Apollo.
an angle where he got his neck
Siaki
injured
got
at the
hurt.
hands of Monty and Kip.
Yeah, so Lance came in and took his place, and my gosh, what a change. I mean, honestly, I think Lance Archer was fucking awful in this match.
Yeah, he was. Lance was working NWA Southwest. Our buddy JP Black was down there at the and he was just over because he was a 6'9" dude that could do a sweet moonsault. That's about it.
He was Nash. He was getting a lot of Kevin Nash comparisons back then.
Right, and
he
was way more athletic than Kevin Nash was.
He looks like Trip. He looks like Trip from wrestling from up here.
Yeah, right.
They could be brothers. I asked Joe about that. Like, anyone talk about Lance Archer? You guys look like he's like, yeah. People say we can be brothers, except Joe's not 7 feet tall.
And I never understood the frickin' tramp stamp that Lance has. What the fuck was that? Just like, really, dude? You get drunk one night and like, yeah, put that right there.
Well, he hikes his pants a little further nowadays. He's come a long way, though. He's a hell of a lot better now.
Oh yeah, hell of a lot better now. At least he can freaking work now. God.
Yeah.
Now he looks like and acts like a monster instead of just looking
Yeah, tune in next week to watch him become a John Moxley.
Actually, back then he looked like Cass.
Oh my God, he did.
Yeah, he did look like Big Cass. Now that you say that, yeah, he does a little bit back, at least back then.
Let's talk about Monty Brown for a second.
Yeah,
they had high hopes for this guy. I mean, I remember when I was watching this back when it was originally aired, I thought the blueprint, the plan was to make this dude a champion.
Yep.
He had they gave him so many chances, and they just never pulled the trigger with him.
Nope. And ECW, WWE ECW comes calling, signs him. Corvus, what was his name?
Marcus Corvon.
I thought they were going to put the belt right on him, too.
Yeah. And he was there a few months, and he was gone.
He had a WrestleMania match, though. He did have a WrestleMania match.
And he was in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008.
Right,
one of the worst SmackDown vs. Raws they ever did, mostly because a lot of features they had just did not work. But
what the hell, man? That whole time, and what has happened? He's been emulated by many wrestlers, including Lee now, who has done the pounce and does it now on WWE television.
Yeah,
Human Tornado was doing it in PWG. You remember Human Tornado? Yep.
The Human Tornado was about 170 pounds.
And he would do a pounce like no one's business. They would sell it
and they would sell it like they get shot with a gun.
Oh God!
He had that sweet ass voice there.
That's what I love about Human Tornado. Human Tornado is this tall beanpole-y guy, about 170 pounds and about 6'3" or whatever. And he beats the shit out of everybody.
Balls of steel too. He would no sell low blows because he was supposedly like his balls were like steel. It was great.
Well, yeah, he was like Dolomite. That was
yes. Okay. Thank you. Yep. That's what it was.
Bad motherfucker.
That's right. Monty Brown, man. There's a great name for the past. God, what happened to Monty Brown? Someone find him.
Yeah.
Imagine what could have been, though, dude. I mean, if
they had just pulled the damn trigger the several times they give him a shot at Jarrett or whoever was champion, and they never gave him the belt. He could have been one of the best world champions TNA could have ever had, but we'll never know.
He was Goldberg over. I will tell you that.
Oh yeah, huge.
Yeah, newsflash to you, smart marks, internet marks. Goldberg was fucking over. All right, that's why he's there's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Goldberg was over.
Yep, but this match is not.
This match was. Although the only real story element you had was the tension between Kip and Monty, kind of slowly weaving in that Kip was about to turn face eventually and become part of the 4 Live crew for a very short period before we get James Gang and LAX and everything that's coming the next year.
Yeah.
But in the end...
Q-Kip.
Oh, yes, Q-Kip. And Apollo. Grand Apollo from Puerto Rico, IWA.
Who had been in the company at this point from the very beginning.
Right.
I believe, from what I remember, he was in the Final 4 in the Gauntlet Battle Royal for the title on the first show.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and he was big draw. He was the big draw in Puerto Rico for the IWA promotion, not Carlos Colon's company. This was Victor Quiones' IWA.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was the company that Dutch Mantel was booking, as I alluded to earlier. He way over, a lot of potential, incredible look, rock over in his home country, and they never did anything with him. So
sadly not.
There's a lot of guys in TNA that were like that. Sean Hernandez was another one.
Yes, hot stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
First off, very sweet guy, super
very
nice.
Very nice.
Very nice guy. But building a brick shit house, big and strong. Extremely over with the fans. He got a good run there, but I always thought they were going to get him a little further up. Same thing said about Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan was like, I know I'm going ahead of this. Matt Morgan was like Marcus Corbin there.
Prodigy, potential big name, had all the accolades they want, and let's make him a stutterer. Let's make him a stutterer is what they did to him. Killed him right off the bat.
Yeah.
Ridiculous stuff. A quick story about Hot Stuff Hernandez. Don't know if I told this already. Walt knows this one. When our buddy JP Black was wrestling in Texas, he wrestled Hot Stuff a few times. JP's not a huge guy, but Hot Stuff is. And a chop from Hot Stuff Hernandez is lethal. Such is the case that our buddy JP had both his nipples pierced. Okay. So he's in the match with Hot Stuff, and Hot Stuff backs into a corner, and Hot Stuff rears back and chops the living hell out of him. And you hear ding! Out came the piercing.
Oh no.
And by the time JP could go, what the hell was that? Second chop, ding! Other piercing goes flying.
Jesus Christ!
I think we need to call JP in just to tell that story.
Oh God, yeah.
You won't answer the phone. You won't answer the phone.
He won't answer. No, he won't answer the phone.
Nope.
Oh Lord, what a story!
Never forget that one. Never forget that story.
But anyway, so in the end, Kip James and Monty Brown defeated Apollo and Lance Hoyt in 9 minutes 58 seconds. Then we get a little segment with Team Canada. Oh, I loved Team Canada back then. They were such a good group. Fun group. Where you see Bobby Roode, Eric Young, Petey Williams, A1, all talking about their matches throughout the night, ending with Petey talking about Saban and how they have so much history, and they both were trained by Scott D'Amore, and so on and so forth. So next up is Petey Williams versus Chris Saban. However... one of the funniest botches I've ever seen. When they're getting ready to do the introductions, they're playing Abyss's theme song as Petey's getting ready to walk up the ramp. He turns around for a second, and I was like, fuck it. And then come out to Abyss's theme, and then just as he's getting on the corner, then the Team Canada theme plays. Like,
from what I gather, my research, this was supposed to be Chris Saban versus Shocker.
Yes.
From
they said that in the commentary. Yep. But he got AAA booked him some weird place in the Yucatan And
Triple A purposely booked him to the point where getting to the show on time would not be possible.
Yeah, and they babyface it best they can on the commentary, trying to make it not sound like Triple A did it intentionally, but they did.
Yeah.
Triple A is shady.
They were dicks at the time, so yeah.
They still are. They're
yeah, that's a
better.
good point. Yeah, they still are. Yep.
But yeah, just that moment of them playing Abyss's theme, and you see PD go up the ramp, then, oh, turn around. Okay, screw it. And then they play the music just as he gets in the ring.
I shouldn't skip through the intros then next time, because that's what I did. I just said fuck it and got right to the ring and go. So, but there you go. Good.
Yeah.
Good on you for finding that screw up.
Yeah, it was just so funny. I'm like, what the fuck did they do?
This is the day when Eric Young would get like scared of the pyro.
Yeah, this was the beginnings of that.
Time, yeah. Yeah, it's about that time.
Yeah, we're getting to that time.
Amazing how
who's now the world champion?
Around. Who's the champion?
He's the world champion now.
My God. But anyway, so Sabin and Petey Williams, you can never have a bad match between these two. No. These two, they just know how to work. They know. Granted, this isn't their best match, but it's still a really good one because, you know, trained by Scott D'Amore, so you're bound to see something out of these two. And I mean, all you can really say about it is really good match that sets up for something big at the next pay-per-view that we'll be talking about as Chris Sabin beats Petey Williams with the Cradle Shock in 12 minutes, 34 seconds. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then after the match, the returning Matt Bentley shows up, super kicks to both of them, gets on the mic and says, I am bound for glory, and you can't have it without the most innovative match in the history of wrestling. My match, Ultimate X, setting up the Triple Threat Ultimate X match, which we'll talk more about when we talk Bound for Glory 2005 next month.
The industry had high hopes for Matt Bentley, Michael Shane.
Yep.
Shawn Michaels' cousin.
Yep, Shawn Michaels. Yep. I saw Michael Shane work a couple of dark matches for later ECW house shows. There was a show in Poughkeepsie, New York I went to that was a TV taping for ECW. It was the same weekend Scott Hall came in for a couple of shots. They did a show in Schenectady, and then the next night they did Poughkeepsie for the TV taping. Michael Shane wrestled the one of the dark matches that night. But yeah, he was supposed to be a top notch. He was working Ring of Honor too. But there was nothing about him that stuck out. He had no charisma.
The Bentley bounce.
He was athletic. Couldn't cut a good promo. He just,
He had the Bentley bounce.
Yeah. That was really it.
Who did he have in his corner? Did he have Tracy Brooks or was it Tracy?
Not at this point.
No, I mean, who?
Oh, back then, I think it was. I think he had both at different times.
Maybe.
Because I remember, actually now I remember, I think whenever they did Victory Road the year prior, it was him and Kazarian with Tracy, I believe.
Okay.
Trinity, I think, came along just shortly after, going into 2005.
Yeah. There's two we don't see or hear from anymore.
Nope.
Tracy Brooks, wow.
Well, who she married? She was with.
I think she's married to Kazarian. Isn't she?
Kazarian, right? Yeah. She was with Punk at a certain time. Yeah, she is married to Kazarian now. But yeah, she kind of bounced around a little bit, you know,
before settling down with Frankie.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't want her? To be honest, I mean, who?
That's quite honest. Yeah, it's quite true.
You ever see that ref spot on YouTube of the match that she does with the ref spot right before the match starts? The ref's trying to break them up, and he's got their hands apart, and his hand is
right there. Yeah.
and I remember when that happened. I called you and I said, "Dude, you're booking Tracy Brooks. I'm reffing the match."
Yep. We never did it, but yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, we get that built up for Ultimate X at the following.
What are your hands doing, Walter? Show me your hands. Okay.
Anywho, now we're into the final match of the first half of the show. No disqualification match, Abyss versus Sabu, the beginning of the feud between these two that will go on for the rest of the year. And While this match, standard hardcore match, it was still a good, fun match to watch. Fun. I mean, anytime you had Abyss and Sabu in the ring together, they were bound to make some kind of magic. Particularly 3 months later, a turning point in the famous Barbed Wire Massacre.
Barbed Wire Massacre, yeah.
Somebody else other than Abyss took the thumbtacks. You notice when the thumbtacks come out in Abyss matches, it's normally him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's normally him. Well, look who's in the ring with.
Yeah. Well, that was also, I think, part of the storyline that Abyss was like scared of tacks. That was like the one thing he was scared of.
No, it was that he was scared of barbed wire.
Oh,
then that's when they set up Barbed Wire Massacre.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I got that confused.
I can see Joseph Parks going to Sabu backstage, like he's like trying to build up. Can he take the tech bump tonight? I mean, can he do it? And he's like all nervous and asking Sabu. Sabu's like, yeah, man, I don't give a fuck, I'll do it.
Another fun story. Another fun story about Abyss. Walt, you might know this one. Promotion not too far away from where Walt and I were used to wrestle. It's out in Rochester, New York, called NWA Upstate. And they booked Abyss one night. And Abyss happened to have some female companionship that night. And supposedly, after the show happened, which was a Saturday, Abyss went back to the hotel and and the next morning, the promoter who was paying for the room got a phone call. And they said, there's some damage in this room that we're going to need you to take care of. The promoter's like, what? It's like, yeah, this happened. And promoter didn't believe him. Drove down the hotel. They said, I'm here to see the room that so-and-so was in, blah, blah, blah. They take him up to the room. The promoter, I forget if it was Mike or if it was Gary or whoever it was.
Would it be the cat from hell?
Maybe.
I'm friends with both of them. Like, which one of you guys went to Sabu or this is sex?
And they walk into that hotel room, look around, and basically just pulled out the check and said, how much? And wrote a check for whatever the damages were. Don't know what Abyss and his two lady friends, who I think were dressed up as naughty nurses, by the way, did that. And all I can say is, Abyss, God bless you.
Wholesome. Everyone said he's like all wholesome and nice. That's funny. Now I watch the AJ. Now whenever I see him backstage on Raw, I'm be like, okay.
I heard things.
He looks like Penn Jillette. He looks like Penn Jillette.
He does look like Penn Jillette.
No, he looks like Penn Jillette and what's his name? The British comedian Stephen
Fry.
Cooper, I think.
Stephen Fry. Yes, it looks like Stephen Fry. You're right. Yes. Yes. That is so right. Wow, that's right. Stephen Fry's in V for Vendetta. Has anybody seen that? He's the TV show host.
But anyways, good on you, Joseph Parks.
All Levi is thinking about right now is the naughty nurses. That's all he's thinking about.
Yeah. Thank you.
Get Zev and her friend.
Well, she technically has done some nursing videos. Yeah. Including one that's quite popular. I'll have to show
nursing as in dressing up as a nurse or nursing?
Yeah, or other kind
as
of
a nurse.
Or
more doctor, but same difference.
All right.
Because I thought like there are lactate fetish videos. So.
Yeah, because out of the 357 videos you have, he does in there.
I'm only halfway to that point.
Oh, that was a couple weeks ago. I thought you would have doubled mine. Where are your priorities, son?
Not quite just yet, but anyways. Wow, we have gone way off topic.
Way off. We're full of stories tonight. So.
Yeah, but anyway, so and if I recall, I believe up to this.
Oh, one side note: that show that booked Abyss for. Who did Abyss work that night? Little fun fact. It was a cage match.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's the current TNT champion,
Brody Lee.
One Brody Lee.
That's right.
The right stuff, Brody Lee. Before he was big,
Brody Lee. Yep.
Before he was Big Rig or before the Dark Order, before the Wyatt family, he was the right stuff, Brody Lee.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But as I was going to say, I believe up to this point, I think it was only Sabu and Jeff Hardy who ever took thumbtacks besides Abyss in a match. Because I remember Jeff Hardy taking the thumbtacks in a match they had early in the year, and then Sabu.
Speaking personally, thumbtacks suck. They suck.
I've seen you, dude.
Well, here's the big question. I see a lot of people on like Twitter say like which they would rather prefer to land on. Well, that brings up a question for you. Which would you rather take, thumbtacks or Legos?
Never did the Legos. Friends of ours has, so I can't really say. I've done the tax thing. Now, granted, I wore a T-shirt, but it doesn't matter because I got
they still get elbows. On your,
I got all of the bones of your elbow. I laid my face down in the stack of tacks, and my buddy stomped my face right into them, and I had a whole line right here on my face.
Ooh.
Yeah, and you lifted your head up and kept it there long enough to show the fan that was in your face.
That was not improvised. It was called. I said, "I want you to do this to me."
I think I reffed that match, dude. Did I ref that?
No,
match?
you ran in on it. You did a run in on it.
I did run in. Okay. I was wrestling at that point. I wasn't refereeing anymore. I refereed a few of your matches. I can't remember.
That was before we debuted the character, because this was December. We debuted you a month earlier. Sorry, going way off topic. We debuted your character November 2000, and me and Lee did the thumbtack a month later. So you and I were going into our feud at the time. So this is the funny thing. So it's me and my buddy Lee having a thumbtack match, and we get in there, we do our thing, and Walt comes in as his character with a chair. He slides in, he throws the chair at me to do the Sabu thing. He's going to do a roaring elbow through the chair. I duck. I throw the chair back at him. I give him the roaring elbow. He takes the bump, rolls out. I was supposed to take the chair and throw it out of the ring. I didn't. I left it in the ring. Dumb move. So I go to turn to look at Walter. As I turn around, there's my buddy Lee with the chair. I'm like, oh shit. 3 good ones. Bam, 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 right over my head. And then he gave me the bulldog and then he pinned me.
I took a real good chair shot from you.
Yes, you did.
There's a video of it, and I like to timber.
I got it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. I took a really good chair shot from you one time. It was perfect.
That was it. That was the only time I think we did the chair thing.
That might have been it then.
Yeah, I don't think we did chair. I mean, we would do like the other bullshit we did in the cage match and so forth.
Yeah. We didn't have thumbtacks in the cage match. No. I don't think we. Okay, I thought we did for a second, but no.
No, you did that sweet ass step off the chair bulldog me into the stop sign. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you did that.
Oh, dude, watching that video, everyone loves how we did those DDTs, the finish.
Yeah, that was fun.
They said your delivery of the DDT was perfect. My selling, it was Vince, Axel Legs. He's like, dude, the way you snap your head back up, that's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, that was great stuff. So.
Why'd you quit?
We got to get on with the show. I'm sorry.
We're getting way off.
Way off again. Oh man. So in the end, Abyss defeated Sabu in 11 minutes 30 seconds. That's just the first half of the show.
Yep.
Now we're getting into the second half, and we kick off the second half with a random impromptu match. Bobby Roode versus Jeff Hardy. And they were hyping this up. Jeff Hardy's return match for the first time since lockdown, when he got...
Yep.
I believe he got suspended, and then he was supposed to come back at Sacrifice the month prior, and he didn't show up, and then he comes back.
What a surprise! What a surprise!
This is after Jeff Hardy did one show at Ring of Honor and got booed out of the building. I was there.
You were there. And he was Will-O-the-Wisp. He didn't even wrestle with Jeff.
Right, yeah, he did that. I hung out with him right after his match or right before his match. He was standing there. We were watching the show together from the curtain. He was eating burritos. Man, they stunk. And we were talking about how good Raw was versus SmackDown. Do you see that match on SmackDown? That was crazy, man. I don't know what match it was, but I never forget him saying that to me. He's a tall dude. He's like
6'2", 6'3", roughly.
Yeah, he's conceptually tall. Same as Matt. I know.
He is tall.
I know. Kamikaze told us about meeting Matt Hardy.
Yeah, at Phoenix International, Phoenix Raceway 2 years ago.
That one car show he went to. But yeah, meeting Jeff, man, he's a tall dude. Then he had the match, stunk up the building. Supposedly he did something maybe after the match because he did a shoot interview with Ring of Honor video at the time, and he was out of it. He was out of it.
No shock there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was a weird time for Jeff Hardy.
That match is crazy.
So Jeff Hardy sounds like the sex toy owner from Family Guy, the guy dressed up with the Spider-Man suit.
Yeah,
he sounds like
North Carolina, redneck. Crazy.
Yo, who sounds like that too is AJ. AJ. When I first met AJ, well, hi, I'm AJ.
But
nice guy. Nice guy, but short.
Very
AJ
short.
Is short.
Yeah,
I would tower over AJ.
Yes, you would.
You know who's not tall as you would think he is if you met him? Samoa Joe.
Is who?
Samoa Joe.
Joe is not. He's big, but he's not. He's boxy, but he's not tall.
No.
About 6'1", 6'2", roughly.
Yeah, I think you're taller than he is, Levi, by an inch or two.
No, I'm only 6 foot, so.
When I met him, I was expecting a beast. I was expecting this big fucking guy walking. Nope, he's ramped. Carino is the big guy walking in. I'm like,
yeah, Carino's tall. Carino's real tall. Yep. Hello, Sean. Hello, Sean, for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out tonight. You're down there in the chat.
But yeah, with Rude versus Hardy, I mean, if this was like 5 years later, this would have been really good. But this match, it was just kind of
just filler. And where is Bobby Roode now? Where's Bobby Roode now?
Not on TV right now for some reason. I don't know if he's hurt or not.
I think he's in Canada. I think he's in travel. He can't get there. I think that's
really. Oh, I thought he was living. Okay, now that makes. No, you're right. I think you're right because he got popped for a wellness violation, sent home, and then all the shit went down right when he was supposed to be able to come back.
Yes, bad timing on his part.
I could be wrong. I mean, I would think travel bans are kind of like lifted now.
Starting
I think that last I checked, it's because he can't get there. It's kind of like what half of New Japan's roster is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, and the match ends when Jeff Jarrett shows up and hits Jeff in the back with the Canadian flag hockey stick and helps Rude get the win as Bobby Roode beats Jeff Hardy in 9 minutes 7 seconds.
Don't piss me off.
But now we get to the final 3 matches, and we begin with the first of 3 championship matches of the night. Fatal 4-way elimination tag team match for the NWA World Tag Team Championships. You have the champions, the Naturals, Chase Stevens, Andy Douglas, with some reason Jimmy Hart in their corner, versus Team Canada, Eric Young and A1. This is supposedly A1's first pay-per-view match in TNA. America's Most Wanted, James Storm and Chris Harris, and the winners of the Chris Candido Memorial Tournament, supposedly Alex Shelley and Sean Waltman, but Waltman no-showed this pay-per-view.
Yeah. He was there, he was just not able to wrestle. If you get what I'm saying.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah, that happens. America's Most Wanted, Walt was mentioning earlier how we got to see them on NWA Wildside Television. They were paired up all over the place, had incredible matches, and it was Dusty who put them together as a tag team during his run as TNA Booker. He created them as a tag team. And America's Most Wanted came there. They were one of the hottest tag teams going at that time. They had a tremendous run with Disciples of the New Church.
Yep.
Who was, and that was...
That was Slash, Brian Lee,
Slash, Wolfie D, and
who was it was The Wall. It wasn't The Wall anymore. What was his name?
No, it wasn't.
Malice. Was it?
Malice.
Yeah, I think that was Malice.
Yeah, Malice.
And then eventually Brian Lee comes in, and I believe when they were feuding with New Church, it was Slash and Brian Lee.
Yeah. So they had tremendous matches with those guys, and they had a great run with the Naturals here too. Naturals were a good team,
but of course there'd be no better rival to AMW than Triple X. Daniels and Skipper in particular.
Got it. 6 Sides of Steel, amazing, and helped put the team on the map, and.
Arguably, you can arguably say AMW, perhaps next to Beer Money, best tag team TNA ever had.
Definitely up there. Definitely, I know.
And it's funny, James Storm was in both teams.
Yep.
Yeah. The Disciples of the Church that you were thinking of, the guys they wrestled, because those guys you mentioned were in the match, but the guys that they had the good matches with were Wolfie D, Slash, and Sin Bodie, Kazarni.
Oh, I forgot about him being there.
It was called Sin.
Right. Okay, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then eventually, because they were hyping up like, oh, is Shelley going to do this match by himself? But then you see Dick Candido's family at ringside and little Johnny Candido decide, you know what, I'm going to volunteer, get in the ring. Only lasts like a minute.
Yeah, he does clotheslines, and that's about it.
Yeah.
inside cradle, which didn't look bad at all. He took it okay. Not bad for a completely untrained guy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, from what I heard, that was the thing. The reason why Chris Candido is because X-Pac and Alex Shelley won the Chris Candido Memorial Cup, which was something they were supposed to do every year. They just did it for the 1 year.
Yeah, only for 2005.
Yep.
I think maybe one other possible reason they might not have done it every year was because they were already doing so many like yearly tournament, bi-yearly, like the World X Cup every 2 years and Super X every 2 years, what have you. I mean, hell, we're just coming off of what's up, James? And we're just coming off the Super X Cup just a month prior with Joe and AJ. Right.
Yeah, it would have got exhausting. It's not like New Japan where they can do a tournament every 3 or 4 months.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I mean, God, what does New Japan have? G1 Climax Super Juniors, New Japan Cup, the tag tournament.
World Tag League,
about 4 or 5 tournaments a year.
Mm-hmm. It's the whole focus of their company, basically.
Yeah. But with this 4-way match, I mean, it was okay. I mean, then again, I feel like this match perhaps went a little bit too long. About 5 minutes longer than it probably should have. They could have perhaps taken the 5 minutes and applied it to a couple of the other matches, like Aries and Strong and Sabu and Abyss. That's just me. And we end up with my ear. We end up with the final 2 being Naturals and Team Canada, because they were also building up the mutual the enemy of my enemy is my friend angle with the Naturals and AMW commonly hating Team Canada, and it's so funny to think that just 3 weeks later, Team Canada and AEW would become part of one faction with Jeff Jarrett.
Right. Yep.
It's so weird to think that.
The Naturals reminded me of York and Matthews.
Yeah,
a lot.
Yeah,
even the ring attire, the appearance,
the hair,
the hair, even the work, even the stuff they did.
And that was another team that they did the split up, and it didn't do anything for either guy. Didn't make them a star. They were a good tag team. They weren't
necessarily. Yeah, Chase Stevens would have been the one to break out if they had done the split right and built them up, but it just didn't. Yeah.
No.
Another nice guy too, by the way.
But in the end, the Naturals retain the tag titles as they beat Team Canada, AMW, and Shelley and Johnny Candido in 18 minutes, 1 second.
Yeah, a little long.
Yeah, about 5 minutes too long. But moving on
that's the problem with those fatal 4-way, especially tag teams.
Especially elimination ones, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But with all these teams, it goes to show you how stacked the TNA tag division was. But it would get more stacked. It would get more stacked once the Dudleys came along, and then eventually James Gang get together. Then you get LAX, Daniels and AJ in the next year. So 2006, I would say, was the year for TNA tag teams, because you had everybody.
It always seemed like TNA had the stronger tag division than WWE.
And then, I wonder why, because Vince hates tag teams.
There is that. And also TNA had way better women's roster than WWF did too.
Oh,
so they definitely they did set the bar for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say Vince hates tag teams. I mean, because honestly, it's just that there's not a lot of breadth in the tag team division, but there never really was ever. Mm-hmm. Maybe like in the back of the '80s and such, that was it. But then you got like AEW's got a ton of tag teams, but look what's happened now. It's like saturated. There's too many now.
Yeah, it's too many, and they don't know what to do with them.
Mm-hmm. They don't know. Yeah, they bring in the Butcher and the Blade. They have them crawl up from the ring and attack Cody Rhodes, and now they're Eddie Kingston's lackeys. So, nobody. I forgot what I was. Carry on.
But moving on to the penultimate match of the night for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. That's right, world title not in the main event. It's next to the main event, and it's a Raven's Rules match. Raven defending the title against Rhino, and they were building up since No Surrender 2 months prior after Raven beat Abyss in the dog collar match to retain. Jeff Jarrett announces Rhino's coming, scores Raven. Then we get the tag team match the next month at Sacrifice. I remember it was Jarrett and Rhino versus Raven and somebody else. I can't remember who his partner was. Was it Cassidy Riley or was it somebody else?
What's that?
Maybe, or not Sabu.
Oh, it might have been Sabu. It might have been Sabu. But
yeah, the Ravens working babyface and Rhino's working.
Yeah, very strange to think. And what's interesting, when they had that tag match the month prior at Sacrifice, they were building up like, if Jeff Jarrett doesn't pin Raven, if he doesn't beat Raven, he doesn't get another shot for a year. Or if he does pin Raven, he gets a shot here. But it was Rhino who got the pin, so he gets the title shot.
He gets the title shot. And
this match, definitely
this match. Yeah, this is a good one.
A really good one. Definitely better than Sabu and Abyss when it came to the hardcore matches on this night. Then again, for me, Raven and Rhino, I can't remember a bad match between these two. Like, hell, 4 years prior at Backlash 2001, they had a fantastic hardcore match.
Great one there. It's still, people talk about that one.
That was the thing. It's like late 90s. I mean, everyone's talking about Raven's ECW days. Late 90s, or ECW. Towards the end of Raven's WCW run, you start really seeing very good matches out of Raven.
Yeah.
Like his match with Jericho, his match with Saturn, and all that.
The triple threat with Benoit and DDP.
The triple threat, yeah.
You don't really get to see that in his WWE run. He's got a few okay matches, but they want to have him do the hardcore stuff for most of the time.
Yeah.
But then when he gets the Impact, it's like he continues that trend of really good matches.
With a bunch of guys, Jared, AJ.
He started that prior to this, 3 years earlier, or 2 years earlier.
2 years earlier.
He was working Ring of Honor, and he had that feud with Punk going. Plus, Raven was in great shape at the time too.
He was great matches,
and he was in really good shape. He was cut.
Yep.
Looking really good, cutting good promos, having good wrestling matches, and was able to still do the hardcore stuff. And then he got back with TNA and started doing stuff there. That's when he had the feud with Mitchell and had the head shaving thing happen. The scalping, you motherfucker. And then he got fat. Then he went really out of shape. I think Raven got diabetes. I think he contracted some kind of strain of diabetes, and that's why his body kind of went really weird.
He talks about it on his show.
Does he? Okay, I don't know. So his body changes. He goes back to because he wasn't doing the old school Raven look like he has here. He didn't have shirt on. He had the battle skirt thing, which, by the way, I remember seeing Raven leave the locker room in Ring of Honor with the battle skirt on and his boots with a lady, and they were heading to the showers.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I so wanted to follow them. But I didn't.
You have to listen to Raven talk.
Exactly. From the other room. I just wanted to put the ear to the wall and just see just listen for something really.
You get the worst head out of any other rabbit. I'm just kidding.
Hi, Michelle. We heard that. Thank you very much. Which, by the way, we need to get your wife on for the Evolution episode.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Last week on the show, on Raven's show, they were talking about jerking off for one.
Oh my lord!
We're about to get R-rated for a second here. They're talking about jerking off, and Raven's like, I was at one point in my life where I'd be jerking off, and I'm like going really fast and really hard. And, there was a little bit of come out. Oh, all right, oh, good. I'm done. Thank God.
You need to go slow at first, damn it, Scott Levy. God damn it.
He's like, I got more important things to do. So I just go really fast and really hard and just finish it up.
Mr. Scott Levy, do you not know what masturbation is?
Well,
you don't go fast the whole time. You gotta start slow.
Aren't we streaming on Twitter right now? Tweet it.
Actually, wait a minute.
Do you know about jerking off or what?
Wait a minute. Didn't Raven describe the psychology of actually how to pop a crowd along with the same jerking off?
Yes, he did.
He did in one of his shoot interviews.
It's on YouTube. Yeah. It's on YouTube. You can find it.
He's like, you go for a little bit until you pop. When you pop, you stop right away. Then you wait a few minutes, you start again, and you feel like you're going to pop, and you stop again. So that way it feels better when you're done.
And that's true.
I mean, Zeb Bellringer says the same thing in a couple of... Anyways. But yeah, Raven and Rhino, really good match.
Raven and Rhino.
Yeah. And it ends with And actually, another thing I noticed, while there was... Ricky just said, "What are you guys talking about?" Yeah, you
so
caught
you guys
us at
came in way too late tonight. We had a lot of good stories. You missed them. You got to be on point.
Yeah.
Got to remember what time we were live here. You missed a lot of good stories.
But anyways, like, one thing I noticed with this match, not only did you have the hardcore stuff, you also saw Raven do some submissions, like the ankle lock a lot during this match, which was interesting.
Go figure, right?
But in the end, Raven beats Rhino in 14 minutes, 28 seconds to retain the title, though he wouldn't have it for longer than 2 more weeks because they will get to it when we talk Bound for Glory. But now it's time for...
Don't forget the run-ins, too. We had run-ins in this one. Jeff Jarrett came in there.
Yeah.
I think Jeff Hardy came in there.
Jeff Hardy, yeah.
Yep, so they're all getting involved.
But now on to the match that this show is remembered for, and for good reason. Main event, triple threat match for the TNA X Division Championship. Champion Christopher Daniels, who up to this point has the longest reign in the X Division title's history up to this point of 6 months. Defending against a Super X Cup champion, Samoa Joe, and AJ Styles. And I love how they build this match up. It all starts early in the year when it was just Daniels versus AJ going at it, with the classic Iron Man match, with that classic visual of the Peruvian necktie with AJ squirting blood. I'll never forget that. And then the feud gets put on ice for a little bit as AJ was doing the stuff with the world title with Jarrett and company for a little bit. Then they pick back up late summer with the Super X tournament, in which Samoa Joe has come into the company just a few months before. It's going on a tear. Immediately gets skyrocketed to the top of the X Division by getting put in the tournament, going up against AJ in the finals. Daniels being on commentary, and Daniels costing AJ the chance. Joe gets the number 1 contender spot. However, they run an angle where TNA management felt AJ was robbed, so we're going to put him into the match, make it a triple threat. And... oh, man, this match. And I love how it starts with Daniels being... and it's... you got 3 different character dynamics. AJ, full-blown babyface. Daniels, full-blown heel. Joe, gray area in between. Like, he doesn't care who he beats up. He just wants to get to the top. Whether they're heels or faces, he'll run through everybody. So he was the gray area in this match, which was perfect. And I love how this match starts with Daniels being all cocky, like, you're nothing, I am TNA. And then AJ and Joe just beat the fuck out of him with kicks. And I love how they're going back and forth with the soccer kicks, and AJ like, I'll show you how it's done. Whack! And then Joe.
They did that in Ring of Honor. They did that. Yeah. That's a popular Christopher Daniels spot. He does that a lot in like 3-way dances and stuff. They did it in the match with Loki and Daniels.
Yeah, and I love how after they get done with the kicking contest, Daniels gets up, stop kicking me. AJ goes low, or Joe goes high,
and he goes down, gets him out of the ring, gets Joe and AJ,
and then AJ and Joe go at it for a while, and just oh man, this match.
Chris is the experienced veteran when it comes to these matches. So he's really the guy who's the general in these matches. He's really putting a lot of stuff together. He was just basically like, the story's been told. AJ and Daniels did a shoot interview one time where AJ was like, yeah, when we're having a match, just me going, okay, that's it. And Daniels is like, yeah, it's kind of like, It's like, AJ's like, no, it's you telling me what to do. And I'm like, okay. That's just the way it went back then, because when the veterans, you're in the ring with a veteran, you shut up and you do what they tell you to do. And Daniels knew exactly where AJ was in the company, where he was going. He wants to make him look as good as possible. He knows where Joe is. He knows where he is. So he's going to work for the match and make everybody look good. And obviously he succeeds because everyone comes out better in this match. And the crowd is on fire in this match. My God, everything they're going crazy for.
Yeah. I mean, when we alluded to this episode, I kept on saying this may be, for me, the best triple threat in the history of the business, because, I mean, the closest one I could put up here would be like Benoit, Triple H, and Shawn from Mania 20, but for me, this one peaks it by a little bit, just because of the level of ability with these 3 guys. Plus, all 3 of them are like best friends. So, of course, when you throw that in the mix, they're going to do all they can. And let's not forget, I can't remember who it was who made the call backstage to put this match on last. I think it might have been a Jeff Jarrett call. he's like, yeah, no disrespect to Raven and Rhino, but when you got a match with these three, there's no chance in hell you're gonna beat it. So, and also first time ever to X Division title, main event at a 3-hour pay-per-view, and it's up to this point 10-month run so far with 3-hour pay-per-views on Sunday nights. And it was the right call because, yeah, you want the crowd to go home happy, especially with a classic match like this. And this is why this feud with AJ, Joe, and Daniels was, in my opinion, the best feud the company ever had. Even though it started with just Joe and AJ, or no, Daniels and AJ, and then Joe coming along, and these guys feuded all, whether it be AJ and Daniels or so-and-so from about the beginning of the year up until shortly before lockdown 2006. Like, they just went crazy. But the real part began the month prior at Sacrifice, where Joe gets in his stuff. Because you remember, after this match, AJ and Daniels have another Iron Man match at Bound for Glory. Then the feud goes more vicious at Genesis when Joe turns full heel, brutalizing Daniels, and then you get Joe and AJ, then you get Joe and Daniels, then you get the triple threat rematch at Against All Odds, and then the Ultimate X match, and then finally the feud ends on Impact on when they went prime time for one night when Joe got the belt back. And and James just said, and I think still to this day, the only time the X title main event at a 3-hour pay-per-view were Impact. I would think they probably had the X Division title main event another time, but I just can't remember. I'd have to go back, but yeah, this was the first time, no doubt.
And what's fun about this match is, I may have mentioned this prior, but I think it bears repeating. There's actually a point in the match where the guys forget their format. I don't know what it is, and you can tell by just watching the match, but just from the shooting review I remember watching with Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles, they talked about this, like, what would you guys think of that three-way? They were like, it was almost the greatest match we ever had, because there was one thing that happened too soon. It may have been the thing with the belt. I don't remember specifically, but there's a spot where Daniels drops Joe, and you kind of see Daniels go, roll out, Joe. And Joe kind of rolls out to the apron. He doesn't roll out to the floor. Then Daniels and AJ have, like, they start peppering each other, but they're talking at the same time. Then they split off, and then it's Joe and Daniels. And I think it's when Joe puts Daniels in the STF that they're actually having a conversation. AJ's on the other half of the ring, the other side. And it's kind of like Daniels and Joe talking. You okay? Yeah. Okay. What are we going to do next? We're going to do this. Okay. I can't believe we fucked up. It's okay. We'll get through it. And the whole time AJ's watching, I'm like, I wonder what the hell they're talking about. And eventually they get back into whatever it was they were going to go. But you can't tell.
No, you cannot tell any flaws. This is almost like Bret Hart British Bulldog from SummerSlam 92, where there was that one plancha spot that almost went wrong, but you couldn't tell because it almost looked like a plancha, like neck breaker
power
spot.
slam type ring.
Yeah.
Neck breaker.
These guys all can read each other. They've worked with each other so much, even going back to the Ring of Honor days.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a strong familiarity with the three of them.
Yeah. So they just, it didn't matter, you know, if they did screw up or whatever it was. It's just, it looks flawless, and it just comes off as one of the best main events ever, if not for that year, if not for the company. You know, it's always in their top 5, top 10 list whenever they do.
And according to the almighty Dave Meltzer, it's still the only match in TNA history to ever get 5 stars.
Yay.
Yeah. It's
Good
10 stars in our hearts, so fuck off.
Yeah, it's 52 stars.
But in the end, and I love how they do the finish to really set things off for the rest of the feud going forward.
Yep.
So Joe's out of the picture because they're at this point they're making him unbeatable, undefeated streak that would go on until Kurt Angle comes along. And if we ever talk about Genesis 2006, we'll talk about that at some point. But James said 72-star Impact Zone match.
But no, it was only 71.
But anyways, so yeah, you had Joe out of the ring, and then you get AJ and Daniels sequence. Daniels going for the Angel's Wings. AJ counters. 1, 2, 3. AJ becomes the new X Division champion. And did.
just that sell. And you notice the camera like stays on Daniels after he loses just to get that facial, because he knows that's going to tell the story more than any other move they did that night, and it does.
That's why he's one of the best at that.
Yeah. And as we said, the feud would go on for the rest of the year going into 06, and it would get more brutal thanks to Joe. But yeah, so... And in the end, AJ Styles wins the title in 22 minutes, 50 seconds. And I still love this match to this day. So overall, Unbreakable 2005, apart from the main event, the rest of the show, you could say it was okay. But thanks to this triple threat, it's a good show. Yeah. Granted, you had a few good matches on here. You had a really good world title match, a good hardcore match with AJ, or Sabu and Abyss. A couple of good X Division style matches with Aries and Strong and Sabin and Petey. But everything else, you could kind of it's very forgettable.
All the tag matches.
All the tag matches, Rude and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, just nothing there.
Yeah, just nothing really there. So
I mean, nothing bad.
Nothing
like really
of course
horrible. Not. But again, nothing, like you said, they're kind of like, they're just there.
Yeah, they're there to fill time.
Yeah, they're filler matches, and it gets the job done. So.
And TNA's still trying to work out its kinks, so to speak, with how to format their shows. But, yeah. So, now on to best match and worst match. I think best match is obvious. AJ Daniels and Joe. Worst match, I'm going to give it to 3 Live Crew, Diamonds in the Rough, simply put because it felt more like an Impact match rather than a pay-per-view match. And there was really nothing other than the story of 3 Live Crew coming back together after some dissension. That was really it.
Yeah, and I would even probably give it to the tag match with Monty Brown and and Kip against Lance and Apollo. I mean, that was just kind of like a nothing match. There was no story behind it, really, for that one. So
other than tension between Kip and Monty.
Yeah, and big deal. It didn't really matter. So the stuff that like had strong storylines helped the matches out. Anything that didn't have a storyline, it didn't matter who was in the match. Like it didn't really do anything. It didn't help anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, so now we'll be taking questions and discussing future episodes. Already a couple of questions already. One from Russell. Hey, you guys remember Janice, the 4x4 with glass and nails that Abyss had? And he says he always saw Abyss as a mix of Kane and Cactus Jack. I wouldn't agree on Cactus Jack. I'd say more a mix of Mankind and Kane was what Abyss was in a nutshell. Right. But then again, Abyss, back whenever I was a diehard TNA fan and buying all the DVDs, documentaries, and stuff, I wish I still had all of them. I'm only down to one DVD, and that's the Kurt Angle DVD, Sacrifice 2007.
Yep. Michelle pulled that one out earlier.
Yeah. But Abyss was always one of my favorites in TNA. Mm-hmm. Like, despite his hardcore style, he could fucking work. And he could have some amazing matches with just about anybody that he wanted to go with. Like,
I forget. I know he was from Pittsburgh. I forget who trained him. He was good friends with Chris Harris, so I think that was kind of like an in for him to get into the company.
Mm-hmm.
It may have been the same guy who trained Chris Harris, for all I know. Chris got trained in Ohio, I think.
Yeah, because he is from Kentucky. So
yeah, so I think it was NWF or something like that was the name of the company. I forget if that's what it actually was. The guy who trained Abyss, I think, was the same guy who trained Chris Harris.
Hold on, look it up.
Look it up.
But to answer the question, yeah, I have no idea how the fuck TNA got away with doing a weapon that had nails on it, and then doing the angle on sometime in August 2010 when they did this angle where Fortune comes out, like AJ, Kazarian, Rude, Storm, and Matt Morgan beating the fuck out of the ECW guys, and then you had Abyss backstage with Janice, which looked like a murder scene on RVD. Like, how the fuck did they manage to get away with that? Like, how? Like, RVD looking all like as if he was...
Hey, you're right. NWF, Roger Ruffin.
Roger Ruffin, thank you. All right.
But yeah, Janice, as cool of a weapon that was, no chance in hell you would see that unless CZW, but
Yeah.
But yeah, like,
Big
good
Japan
Lord. And James said, fun fact, Janice was named after Dixie Carter's mother. I actually did not know that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, as cool of a weapon and as brutal as a weapon it was, good Lord, how in the hell did they get away with doing an angle like that with RVT? Where it looked like as if Abyss murdered him on live television.
Hell, how about they get away with Kitty Vick?
True. Very, very true.
Hey.
Ricky earlier was saying since Levi wouldn't stop talking about this match the whole time, it took me this long to watch this, and now I see why it's considered one of the greatest triple threat. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I kept telling you that during, like, before we would go live for the Horseman podcast. Ricky just asked, do you think if WWE would have had Joe Styles Daniels in a triple threat out of WrestleMania, do you think it would have had the same impact it had, or the same impact it had in Unbreakable, knowing Vince's ideology? No, sadly not. Because, well, for one, as I brought up before, Daniels was originally supposed to have been the higher power during that angle, and it was supposed to have been the launching pad for the Fallen Angel gimmick, but Vince put the kibosh on that because, quote, Daniels is too small. So for whatever reason other than size, Vince seemed to have something against Daniels.
And also remember, with this match, it's mostly the boys who are calling stuff.
Yeah.
It's Daniel sitting down with AJ and Joe and saying, okay, we're going to do this, you do this, da-da-da-da. In WWE, a whole different system where you've got an agent who's being told what the outcome and the business of the match is supposed to be. So they need to have the wrestlers focus on it. You're not going to have as many spots or as many big moves as you would have in this match if you had in WWE. They would not have had a match.
Yeah. And on top of that, even if they ignored the advice of the agent and just did all on their own, they would have gotten their asses chewed by Vince.
Right.
Because they're like, we don't want you to steal the show, damn it. I want the main event to steal the show, damn it.
They would have been chewed out by the agent who would then bitch to, the writers or Vince or whatever guy he could talk to. But chances are the wrestlers, they wouldn't get a tongue lashing from Vince. Vince has got too much shit going on to worry about one match. Simple as that. So
yeah, definitely the agent.
When you hear these guys tell the stories, like Kevin Owens told us, when he goes back to the curtain, asks, Vince, what do you think? That was the worst match I ever saw. That's not him being literal. That's just him in that one little quick moment of time giving you a quick impression. He does not have time to sit down and explain everything with you. He's got a lot of different meetings, a lot of different decisions to make. He's got a lot of people that work for him. He just let 60 of them go. So he's got a lot of shit to think about instead of just your little match.
Are we good? No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. And Ricky just said, well, what if Triple H was in charge in this area? Well, if Triple H was in charge, then perhaps, because we've seen with Triple H, he knows how to help matches out. Look at what he's done in NXT. I mean, you see tons of great matches. It's all thanks to like Triple H basically letting the wrestlers kind of do their own thing. So
we still get great matches on the main roster. I mean,
absolutely.
We
still do, just not as much as we would like.
No, Levi, the problem is the wrestling fan base culture is now especially the online culture, have now conditioned themselves to hate everything WWE does and find some sort of negative aspect out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Whereas they talk about, this is bullshit, this isn't wrestling, blah blah blah. Whereas you go to TNT or AEW there, and you got two guys wrestling, trying to throw each other in vats of orange juice. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I swear, if WWE did stuff like that, it'd be hailed as the stupidest thing ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's WWE still has good wrestling. Don't get me wrong, there is things that are heavily flawed on the product, as there is in other promotions. Okay, as there is in other promotions. I mean, you want to talk about that take forever to build stars up? Look at New Japan Pro Wrestling. Who have been the top guys in New Japan Pro Wrestling for the past 5-6 years? There's been 3 of them:
Naito,
Naito, Tanahashi even longer. Tanahashi even longer. They just finally pushed Jay White and put a belt on him. They finally pushed Evil and put a belt on him, only for those guys to have the belts taken off them very shortly thereafter.
Am I reading this right? So Russell just asked, well, you heard about Otis, he got released. Did he get released?
What?
No way he would get released. He's Money in the Bank holder.
Dude's way too.
He's too over to be released.
No,
I don't believe that for a second. Unless somehow, like... Okay, thank you, James. Said no, he didn't.
Whoa, no, wait, hold on. Oh, no, it's about Joe Briscoe.
Oh.
So I saw, I think, Otis... There's a misleading article that I just read.
It's probably a kayfabe news, something like that, who does dumb shit.
Yeah, just shitty things.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, why the hell would they release him? Because, like, fucking... He's got the Money in the Bank briefcase. There's no way they would be able to get around trying to write him off with it. Like, no chance. And besides, he's also super over.
Mandy
Otis
Rose got traded to Raw. That's about it.
Otis posts heartfelt tweet regarding major release. It's a pretty misleading article, but you click on it, he's just he's sad about Joe Briscoe getting released because I guess Briscoe discovered him.
Well, there you go.
Well, Gerald Briscoe, let's face it, folks, he needs to take a break. He needs to retire, enjoy his life. Okay, don't be mad about it.
Perhaps the same could be said about Patterson too.
Yep, they're fine.
He's going to go to AEW. Here's the thing: why is everybody so excited about whether or not Renee Young's going to show up in AEW?
I don't know. And why the hell? And Walt and I were having this discussion. Why does everybody from WWE, when they go to the competition, instantly have to bury them? Miro, I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
Brass ring, shove it up your ass. Come on, dude. Are you fucking professional or are you a whiny bitch?
I mean, granted, I get it. It's like a job. If you're not happy, you go somewhere else. Cool. Okay. That I can understand. All right. But it just seems like to be the hip, cool thing to do to go bury your prior employer. Okay. Yeah. It's like
when you leave your job at Subway, do you go to Quiznos and bullshit over there and bury them to you? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah. I mean, people could say what they will about Moxley, but at least he just said the flaws of WWE, and he didn't even bury them in an interview with Jericho. He was just like, he hopes that they get better. So he was humble about it.
Moxley even says, he goes, I love WWE. He's also my friend. And someone talked about the collapse of WWE and tweeted Jericho. Jericho says, "Yeah, because I want to see a whole bunch of my good friends I shared the business with out of a job and unemployed."
And I think we just got the comment of the year, I would say, from James. And I think we can all agree on this. Everyone is trying to be like Austin from 25 years ago, but it doesn't work. 100% right, because there's no way you can replicate that, because when Austin did that promo in ECW talking about WCW, there was no Twitter or shoot interviews or anything to go on. It was pure raw emotion on live television, well, tape television, what have you, but still on television in front of the entire world, him going off on WCW. Like, it was revolutionary because it was revolutionary for the time, because you had, well, I mean, the internet was around, but it wasn't the way as we know it now.
Everybody watched ECW. Let's
and
be
that
honest.
too.
I did not see Steve Austin's ECW stuff till he was popular in WWF. I read about it in magazines, but a lot of us weren't aware of Austin being ECW.
No, I got to see, because our buddy Lee had the Sunshine Network, so he had the ECW syndicated show. Right. He taped the show and bring it over to our friend's house, so we'd all see what happened that night. And when we first saw Steve doing the Hulk Steve-Mania thing, we didn't think that was him. We're like, that can't be Steve Austin. He's in WCW. What the hell is he doing in this company? Yeah. And sure as shit, once he takes the T-shirt up, I ain't doing this shit no more, jackass. I mean, you just know. I got it in there again. Haha. You're like, oh, that is Steve. What the hell's he doing there? Fired. Welcome to Monday Night with bottle of Geritol on a pole mat. All that stuff's happening. It was entertaining. At least that was entertaining when he's burying the company.
Whereas nowadays, when you got, it's...
Miro's going to come out and say, "Yo, take all those brass rings and shove them up your ass." Wow, really?
I'm going to shit on the company that gave me my start.
Gave me the life I have, made a lot of money with, and I had a lot of opportunities
and
with.
helped me get a wife. To be honest with you, Miro, you should have found someone better.
Wow.
Lana used to be hot. Now I can't even stand the look or even hear her talk.
Because here's the important thing at the end of the day. Sometimes you might need another job again. This might
and you might have to go back. And now that you shit talk him, it's going to be harder for you to get back to that place.
Yep.
Or you're for Miro.
Yeah, and it's not the case of Road Dogg and Kip James who were bad mouthing Triple H. But they're also they're going through a very bad time and dealing with some demons and a lot of pills. Miro is clean and healthy. He just, they all think that because Jericho kind of did it, which he really didn't. He really didn't. I mean, Jericho does take a few shots here and there, but he knows where he came from. He knows what the company did for him. Exactly. Jericho. It made his career.
Yeah, and everyone, and he knows that. And
I'll be right back. I gotta go take a quick leak.
Okay, go take a leak.
I would certainly
say, who's to say, with all the wrestling fans out there that think you're so smart, who's to say that after Moxley or Jericho or Miro go out there and make those claims, they don't go back, pick up their phones and start texting their buddies who work in the other company, say, "Hey, I did this tonight. Watch Twitter tonight. It's going to be fun." Randy Orton does it. He loves trolling people. It could be a big rib on the internet smart marks.
That's true. They could be working it. They could be working it. But also, here's the other thing. There are only so many brass rings to grab a hold of. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, look who they have right now as far as former WWE talent. Okay, that supposedly got misused. Moxley, Jericho, Brody Lee, Cody,
who James just mentioned in the chat. Brody Lee is a clear ripoff of Vince, no matter what anybody says, and I got to agree. Yeah, it's definitely a parody of Vince. That's definitely what it is. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing. I think they could do something way better with Brody, but that's the hand he's got. He's got a title. Let's see if he gets some kind of run with it.
We see Cody. Who else? Zack Ryder. That's like what 6-7 guys I just mentioned there. There's not going to be 6-7 singles titles available in the company.
No.
All right. No. Not everybody's going to, Zach, perfect thing. Three most perfect examples of what's going on with where not everybody gets a fair shake, in my opinion. Going over there is greener pastures. Number 1, Shawn Spears. Number 2, Jake Hager. You cannot tell me Jake Hager is having a better run over there than any other run he had in WWE.
Nope.
He was a former ECW World Champion. He was a former WWE. He was a World Heavyweight Champion.
Big gold belt. Yep.
Money in the Bank winner. Am I right? He was Money in the Bank winner, right?
Yep. Yeah, Mania 26.
Yep. Also he got super over with the whole "We the People" gimmick. He had a world title match at WrestleMania with Alberto Del Rio. Okay.
Even though he fucked himself over getting the belt because he decided to get drunk and high on the road.
Yeah, there was that.
But other than that,
that's true. Yeah. You can't tell me what he's doing right now is better. Okay.
No.
Oh, but they're emulating more of his MMA stuff. Yes. So what? The charisma he had is gone. He's. I'm not saying his matches are bad, but nothing stands out that gives him that mass appeal that he had in WWE. Shawn Spears was getting over with 10 gimmick in WWE in NXT.
Eventually he gets made into basically a jobber, and now he's in AEW being a jobber. So he's in a better spot than he was before.
Not only that, they changed his gimmick to this chairman. How many fucking chairmen do we have in wrestling? The chairman of the board. Mm-hmm. How many of those do we have? And he just and he sits there and makes these like cold long stares. It just doesn't work it doesn't work well for him.
No.
And FTR, they got the belts already. That was quick and fast.
So at least you gotta give them credit. They capitalized on that. So
they did, and it's cool having totally against their manager. Kind of matches up with that little old school vibe right there. But I I'm glad they put the belt on Brody Lee because they had him fucking lose to Moxley almost immediately shortly after he got there.
We got a question from Ricky. What do you think of the idea of the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, going against Jeff Hardy's alter ego, Willow the Wisp?
I think that
ship has sailed. Is it actually in the works?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's not. It's just Jeff Hardy wants to bring Willow the Wisp over.
I don't think they're
kind of.
Well, if they do it,
he's wanted to do that for years. So if they haven't done it by now, they're not going. What's the point?
Jeff has already got that. He's already got that enigmatic presence to where he doesn't need that gimmick.
Yeah. Go ahead, Levi.
But I was going to say, if it was to happen, holy crap, I'd be interested in the promos for that, because I saw some of the Will-O-the-Wisp stuff from TNA, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is some cool shit, where he's just all dark and creepy, like kind of like the precursor to the Fiend to an extent. Mm-hmm. So you can maybe work around the idea of like, without Willow, there is no Fiend. Like almost like as if like Jeff be like, I'm the one who created you, whatever nonsense. And I think
Bray can always use the "I took your place as your brother's brother," because remember the tag team Matt Hardy.
That would be true. Yeah, that would be interesting.
Did you see the new character on the Firefly Funhouse, the Walrus? It's based off of Paul Heyman.
No, I didn't see that.
I haven't seen it. I heard about it, but
I think he's called like Wobbly the Walrus, and he looks like
Wobbly Walrus.
Something like that. Yeah.
Love that.
Oh man, I love Bray Wyatt.
I know. How could you not?
I can see Heyman when they first. He probably laughed. He's like, "That's supposed to be me. That's supposed to be me.
That's supposed to be me."
My good sir, is the walrus supposed to be a representation of myself?
Yeah, pal. It does look kind of like you. Yeah. Well, that's great, Mr. McMahon. That's a really wonderful idea.
Holy shit! But
I you know what? We got to get Undertaker back for a funhouse type of like a Firefly Funhouse match with Bray, cinematic. Just kind of like with John Cena. I want to see Heyman walk out with Undertaker as Mean Mark.
Yes. That would be funny. That'd be awesome.
Taker's like, what the hell is
Paul Heyman's got the microphone, and then there's Undertaker, Mark Ellis, and they're both like,
he's got the cell phone. He's got a ponytail. He's got the windbreaker jackets he wears.
What is going on here? This. Oh my god! I got the mullet back. How'd that happen?
And Taker's like, why do I have pink tights? Because he did wear pink tights every now and then as Mean Mark.
Yeah, and then you see the first incarnation of Undertaker with Bruce Pritchard as Brother Love.
Brother Love, yep.
That would be great too.
Russell says the Iconics are broken up. I'm ready to see what they can do with them. Yeah.
Billy Kay boot.
Yeah. We know Peyton's going to be the one to get pushed. Both of them have their own YouTube channels, so you can check those out.
Be joking, mate.
Yeah, at least according to Ricky, at least we're getting Abigail, Alexa Bliss in a way. I predict we're getting full-on Abigail Bliss around Halloween. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, considering now it's looking like she's going to join up with The Fiend and Bray.
That was the thing too. Like my wife and I always thought that the Wyatt family should have had like a female representation. Call her Flower, Flower Wyatt, and that could have been just like Nikki Cross was with that
Sanity.
group that she was with Sanity. Kind of like that. A little bit more demure though. A little bit more Manson-esque. Manson family, not asshole Marilyn. That kind of character type thing. But
you mean Nicolas Cage, Marilyn, man? You mean Nicolas Cage Manson?
Oh yeah,
because he's looking more like Nicolas Cage.
Who's this? Who's this girl on AEW that's like a zombie gimmick, like a corpse-like gimmick?
Oh
that
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. I forget her name, but yeah,
it looks a little bit like what's her name from Impact.
Yeah, her.
Rosemary.
Rosemary. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not really. She's got like Rosemary just does face paint. This girl's got like
this one's got like prosthetics on her face.
Starts with an A.
I can't remember.
But
but it's a cool gimmick.
And funny enough, you know what's funny for Ricky and for everybody? I remember 4 years ago, back when What Culture was actually good, when Blampier and company were part of the group, and Blampier doing his fantasy booking shtick, he did an episode of how WWE should book Sister Abigail, and he picked Alexa Bliss. So he kind of called it, but 4 years later. To an extent, so I thought that was kind of funny. And to be fair, Alexa Bliss, I think, is capable of doing that just based on her microphone work. Maybe not as much in the ring. I mean, she's not bad, but she's definitely not one of the best. Whereas on the mic, it's hard to beat her. And also with them facial expressions, she'd be perfect to be by Bray Wyatt's side.
And she's a huge horror fan, so she can tap right into that love of horror.
And the perfect example of that swamp match with Braun and Bray just a few months ago, where she was there in like that black bride outfit. That was perfect.
Yeah, that was sweet.
So,
who's that outer space girl on AEW? What is the nose thing?
Oh, the alien girl?
Yeah, what the hell's her name? Oh, Chris Statlander, that's right.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a guy's name. That's why I never... Sorry.
But going back to earlier when we were talking about like people saying, oh, Renee Young should go to AEW, I think I brought it up before in a previous episode. The only reason I would ever see Renee Young go to AEW is if she were to be heel, turn Mox heel, and they become like the modern Edge and Lita and just be a sleazy heel couple.
But would she be good in the role? She's a commentator.
Probably not.
Newscaster.
Yeah,
but that would be the only way I could see it, though.
Unfortunately, she'll be even more awkward than Karen Angle. So
probably,
I think, yeah.
I mean, maybe not as a heel, but if they were being like sleazy and stuff, I could see it. Considering, like I said, Total Divas, they're into bondage shit. So,
personally, I think she shouldn't have anything. I think I'd like to see her better off in an ESPN. She said she's still employed by Fox Sports. So.
No, that's true. And I've already called the formation of Brandy Rhodes, Renee Young, and Britt Baker at the First Wives Club.
There you go.
Yep, make that happen.
Yeah, it's something on my table for a second. Russell just asked.
There was another guy who I was wondering, what the hell? Where is Pac? What, is he injured? Is he like stuck in England? Or
I'd say he's probably stuck in England. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Russell, I think Peyton Royce is hot, and I like Billy Kay, but I like Billy Kay better thanks to the interview with Chris Van Vliet.
Oh,
she's so adorable. Yeah. Oh yeah, you gotta be joking me.
Yeah, I personally like Peyton Royce more. I think Billy Kay is cool as hell. Trust me, I don't think she's bad. Peyton, I think, is a little bit hotter,
and a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit.
But on the mic, Billy Kay's funny just because of those random.
Billy Kay's hilarious. Billy Kay was the first one to start giving Kayla Braxton all sorts of shit.
Yes,
he was the first one who would
drive
her ass and.
Okay.
But I'll never forget that moment. I think it was after Royal Rumble 2019 or 2018, where we got that. Yeah, be joking me, and literally made Peyton Royce break character for a second just because it was so out of nowhere.
They just had tremendous facials and expressions and.
Yeah.
But you also watch these girls, and you know that they legit are best friends. Best. Life mates, as they say, life partners, and everything else. So they got each other's backs. When Peyton just competed in her first, swimsuit muscle modeling thing, whatever it's called, fitness modeling. She won second and third place, and Billy was right there along with her husband. So, hey.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean,
Ricky, I think you like Billy Kay more because she's got the black. Am I wrong?
I really hope they're not downplaying on Billy Kay, though, because there's things they can do with her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They put her. Well, what happened was at the Raw Underground, they fed her to Marina Shafir and Jasmine Duke.
Saw that.
What I would do is have like Billy Kay stay in Raw Underground and have her like just become a fucking, it just becomes like a caged animal. You poke her enough times,
I want Billy Kay in a run with R-Truth over the 24/7 title.
Oh
God,
Lord.
that would be great.
That's what I want to say.
That would be phenomenal.
That will be hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
And that'll get her more over than Peyton will.
Yeah.
By the way, the chick that's on SmackDown that keeps showing like the leg and the back.
Yeah.
I think it's
Carmella.
Carmella. Is it Carmella?
I don't know.
guessing.
It could be Carmella.
No,
I don't know. I heard
some
rumors.
news source.
I
News
heard
source took
rumors.
the time to do a close up of a tattoo that Carmella has. It's
Okay.
It is her.
Yeah, Ricky, maybe.
Well, I also thought at one point it was rumored she was going to be a member of Retribution. Carmella.
Yeah, I heard that too, but I mean that could just be filling stuff.
Where are they going with this angle? They better have a big payoff with this angle because they've been dragging it for quite.
Yeah, we don't want another aces and eights among us.
I mean, it's got to be like CM Punk is behind it or something like that, or
that would be crazy for sure.
That would be crazy. It's got to be something at that level or near that level. It's got to be because the way they're coming off in their promos, it's guys who are all getting held back and getting screwed over, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. So it's not that they're getting shooty. They're starting to answer to the internet, when playing along with it. And one of the promos I heard though, one of the guys sounded a lot like Kevin Owens. They cut a promo with amplified voices. One of them sounded a lot like Owens, which is kind of let me down because
he doesn't really need it.
He doesn't really need it.
He's a babyface, and he's over as a babyface. What's the point?
Yeah, he's getting over. This is one of his best years. I mean,
and he's right now in a bit of a dream feud with Aleister Black. So
I would wonder if they would just kind of throw some random people in there just to make people guess and keep people talking about it, just to make them think that so and so might be a part of it. I don't know. But if I was doing it, that's what I would do. I'd throw somebody.
Some
in
people
there
are saying it's
not going to be in there for the long haul, just to kind of throw you off.
Some people saying it's Wade Barrett leading it, trying to form a new nexus and utilizing the whole. You guys threw me over. I was supposed to, be much bigger than you. John Cena tell them no. Yeah.
I mean that would be. I don't know if it'd get over, but it'd be kind of an interesting redemption thing for Barrett. Because I always was a Wade Barrett guy. Oh,
I liked Wade Barrett. I do really think he could have gotten a little further up there.
Had he not been bit with the hardcore Holly virus, as I call it, where every time he would start getting higher up the card, injured. As I brought up before, he was supposed to have been Money in the Bank holder at WrestleMania 28 when they were going to bring Money in the Bank back to WrestleMania. Injured shoulder, put the kibosh on that.
What happened to AOP? Same thing.
Or wouldn't it be interesting if it was somebody who was openly vocal and critical of WWE the past few years, and like Ryback?
There you go.
Yeah, and then what a swerve that would be, because everyone thinks Ryback is still anti-WWE the way he talks on his podcast and all that.
He's really not.
Behind their back, he's signing with them.
Yeah,
and that would be the ultimate war.
It would be a great swerve. It'd be a great swerve.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I up until the last year of his WWE run, I was a Ryback guy. I liked Ryback. Plus,
he was getting over it huge.
He was getting over, even though he was getting the Goldberg comparisons and stuff, and then he started to look like Goldberg with his gear.
He took off the Rob Van Dam singlet and
started wearing tights. Yeah.
It was stupid. That was a bad move. But that's another guy who just started listening to too many people instead of listening to himself. You get told one thing from one person, get told another thing by another guy, another thing by another person. And all of it just you just start internalizing it and compartmentalizing it and all that stuff. And you just become completely obsessed with, I don't know what the hell to do, so I'm just going to listen to one person. You wind up listening to the guy, and shit goes south.
And not to mention, and then James just brought up, and they booked him in a corner at Hell in a Cell 2012. Yeah, because people got to remember, originally that was going to be the blow-off to Punk versus Cena Hell in a Cell match, and if that match would have happened, holy shit, that would have been amazing. But because Cena was a little injured, they had to find somebody to face Punk, and they put Ryback in at the wrong time, and they had to, and it hurt him so bad. They could have redeemed it, because... And I think, James, you would agree with me. What they should have done for Royal Rumble 2013, not have Cena win just so you could do the rematch with The Rock. You could have had Ryback win the World Heavyweight title from Mark Henry or somebody. Or Big Show. No, Big Show, and have a WrestleMania moment where he does the shell shock on Big Show. And it would have fixed him. But instead, they wanted to go for the totally predictable rematch that was worse than the first one between Cena and The Rock, where it was just finish spamming.
Well, I was there, and that crowd was nuts, so...
Yeah, so
it was
true.
It was good.
True. I mean, the match, it was good, but the problem I have with that match compared to the 28 match...
and you're right.
It was just finish spamming.
It was boom, 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 and the crowd was popping for every single false finish. I was there, and I can tell you 100% they were buying it. There was actually one point, watch me. I am 5th row on the hard cam side for WrestleMania 29 in New Jersey. You can see me and my friend Scarsdale. And one point during that match, after they've gone through like maybe 3 or 4 of their finishes, I go, keep going all night, guys. You got them. Don't worry about it. You can't hear me, of course, but that's what I'm doing.
TV time than anybody on WrestleMania weekend.
Oh, yeah. Tons
you guys were on the hard cam on Mania, then you were on the hard cam even more for the Raw after Mania.
Yep. Well, the Raw thing, they picked us up as the camera was going past us on the track there. So I got to in there right at the beginning of Raw. Russell just said, did y'all ever see Chris Van Fleet get chopped? I give him props. I did see that,
props.
I give him tons of props.
Who chopped him?
Let me tell you, the entire class that Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze teaches. So it was about 15 greenhorns plus Sean plus Tyler plus Peyton, who was there too, all giving chops to Chris Van Fleet.
Oh, wow.
Remember when Cranky wrestled Danger?
Yep.
That's how his chest looked, 5 times worse.
It wasn't Cranky's chest. It wasn't Cranky's chest that everybody talked about. It was Dave's forehead. Cranky was fucking laying in with him with the brass knuckles.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
I remember that. He's like, bro, he's going to get it. I'm backstage before the match. Cranky goes to me, bro, he's going to fucking get it. You watch. I'm going to light him up. And he fucking did. Oh, my God.
This is a 150-pound, 5'7" dude taking on a guy 6'4", 330. We all knew that the big guy was going to chop the living shit out of the small guy, but as Walt said, he's going to fucking get it, and he fucking layered into his fucking head all night during that match.
Well, Dave loved doing that. Dave loved lighting the big guys up. We're shooting now. Here we go. So Cranky was sick and tired of it because actually, while Cranky was the champion at that time, Cranky was getting so much shit from from Dave, Kenny, and Todd about being champion. So they put the belt on him, and so Cranky was going to get his just desserts. They were dumb enough to let them open the match up. Cranky loading on Dave with brass knuckles.
Yep.
And they thought Cranky was going to throw work shit. Oh, Cranky wouldn't do that. Cranky, he knows better. No, he thought he's fucking potatoing him. And by the end of the night, Dave almost like JBL and Eddie Guerrero. There's blood all over the mat.
Yep. Lit him up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Russell, I have seen Ryback's YouTube channel. I mostly watched his food reviews because I know he's a huge food guy. And that was one of the reasons why I grew to love him so much in his WWE days. Especially the story Al Snow told on that $1 Million Tough Enough DVD.
Yes.
About him eating chicken wings. He has a mountain full. And he's breathing hard and sweating. He's like, Ryan, are those hot? No, I got mild. Or talking about Cracker Barrel. Well, after we're done, we're going to go Cracker Barrel. Cracker Barrel? I've heard about that place. We don't have any in Las Vegas. I can't wait. The man was excited about going to Cracker Barrel, for God's sakes.
Oh, and Daniel Bryan told the story about after shows they try to find places to eat. And one of the places they got to start going to was, I just had it and I lost it. Panera Bread. And Daniel loved going there because he was vegan at the time, and they have black bean soup and stuff like that. And they're open late, so you can get food. Ryback, or as he calls him, the Ryback, would stand up at the counter and just look like, and he'd look at the girl behind the counter like, do you have chicken breast? Yeah, we have it in a salad. He'd have to order 10 chicken salads just to get enough chicken protein for his freaking body after a show. And then maybe 10 steak salads too, and just eat the protein part. He wouldn't even touch the greenery.
It's expensive. Panera is very expensive. I can only imagine the bill.
But yeah, that fucking story. That man was excited about going to Cracker Barrel. I mean, speaking from experience, I've been to Cracker Barrel many times. It's good, but good Lord, every single time me and my parents go out past my city, in the towards Cincinnati or down towards Tennessee, they always want to go there. It's like, can we go to a different place? I mean, we have Cracker Barrel all the fucking time.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like, they had at one point, just real quick, I think one of the best things I ever had at a restaurant, one time a few years ago, Cracker Barrel had a thing, fried chicken eggs Benedict. Oh my god, it was good.
Interesting.
So,
fried chicken with Cracker Barrel is good.
Sausage gravy is like phenomenal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've only been to Cracker Barrel probably in the last 10 years twice.
Yeah.
And both, it was good both times. But yeah, don't have any in my area.
Sometimes they're not good. It depends on what the cooks do. Like, we had one time, we had breakfast there, and for some reason, the ham, I guess they said it was spoiled. So, yeah. That was one of the few times where it was like, maybe we made a mistake.
Remember, anybody that
I know.
Anybody that buys ham, make sure there's a bone in it. If you don't, it's reconstituted. It ain't real shit.
Yeah. I know a guy who, I know a couple of guys who actually have gone to Cracker Barrel 3 days or for 3 meals in one day. They go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They love it that much.
Oh, wow. Is he in his 90s?
No, it's actually our friend Paul, our internet friend Paul Laporte, and Johnny Patches from NYCW.
Gotcha.
Okay. They love Cracker Barrel.
Man. Damn it.
Well,
and actually,
we'll wrap this up here too. We're getting kind of late.
Yeah, we're starting to get to that point. But real quick, actually, a little bit of a revelation, so to speak, to Scott. But the next episode of the Horseman podcast we're doing for Top 10 British Metal Bands, possibly going to get a big special guest for that episode from Banger TV and from the band Exciter, Daniel DK, the guitarist.
Nice.
Possibly.
He does reviews.
And he's on Twitch all the time playing and jamming and stuff. And that's how he knows me, was from Twitch and from the Banger TV live chats.
Very cool.
So we might get him, and that'd be really, really cool.
We had a Banger TV guy on our podcast. We had Mark Popoff.
Oh, the genius Martin Popoff. Oh my god, I remember in one of the last live stream episodes of Lockhorns they did it when they talked about Judas Priest. Whenever he would go into the whole history of Judas Priest, like, everybody stopped talking in the chat, like, okay, it's time to listen to this guy. And I like Martin. He's really, really knowledgeable and really cool.
Trying to get Sarah on the show next episode.
Oh, Sarah Kitteringham?
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd be cool if I can get DK on the Horseman podcast this week. I have to message him on Twitch if he'd be available. Considering we do the show in the morning, considering Hannah and Artur, they're over in Europe, time difference.
International.
Yeah. Which, speaking of them two, we're thinking about doing like a special Secret Santa thing where we'd order each other albums or whatever for Christmas. Considering Ricky sent me a copy of Death Atlas by Cow Decapitation and To the Nameless Dead by Primordial in the mail just out of nowhere a month ago. I'm like, what the hell? You didn't have to do this, but thank you. But yeah, so that's a little idea. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it for this episode. Real quick reminder of our plans. So we're going to be off for the next 2 weeks because I won't be here. I know Walt said he wouldn't have been able to be here for next week anyways. So we'll be back at the beginning of October, and we begin mostly Halloween Havoc month, but how it's going to go, it's going to be first week we're going to talk Havoc 89, then we're going to talk Evolution with possibly Scott's wife Michelle joining us, then Halloween Havoc 93, then Bound for Glory 2005 to continue on with what we were talking about with tonight, and then ending off on November 1st, because none of us are going to be available for Halloween Havoc 1998. And then we begin Survivor Series month. I feel like the 2 Survivor Series I think I would love to do the most, I think we will probably be doing, is 95 to continue on with talking about 95 and 2002. Everything else we'll figure out. James just said he'd want to join in for the Halloween Havoc 93 episode, and come aboard. Second time to have you on. But and then December, it's Starcade month, and then we'll figure out 2021 after that. Or beforehand, but I got a vague idea of what it's going to entail, but you never know. But anyways, quick plugs. Don't forget to subscribe here, Shadow Call channel. Yeah, even though it's been pretty much the podcast ever since like late April, but hoping to get some gaming stuff going at some point. You can subscribe to me, ThrashManiac99 on YouTube, or follow me on Twitter at ThrashManiac99, and there you go. Scott?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Mr. Scott Reacts, reaction videos, stuff lined up for this coming week. Been doing a lot of reactions to Ginger lately, and they've attention, so I'm appreciating the views I'm getting on those. Some other fun stuff coming at you too. I'll be doing another top 10 this month. Coming in the month of September is my top 10 favorite bass solos. Probably one of many top 10s I'll have to do on that subject, because it's hard to pick 10 right off the top. Also, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Scott Reacts too, and I'll let Walter let you know where you can find him and I on other podcasting.
You can find me and Scott, along with our good friends Token Tom Clark, Skip Novak, and Sergeant Fury Dan Roberts on the Necrocasticon, where we discuss horror, metal, and more. And you can check us out on the Project Entertainment Network through all your fine-ass podcasting outlets, as Mr. Fury puts it.
Yes.
Spotify, Apple. We're on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, Apple Podcasting, Spotify, Roku, Stitcher. Yeah, we're out there. iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
And you can find me on Twitter at your Walt Ball, Instagram at smoking_Walt_Walt.
Thank you.
But before we go, what does Terry Funk have to say about tonight's festivities?
Why don't you ask him?
Terry, what are you doing right now?
What? There's no Terry here. What are you talking about? I don't see a Terry. What? No, dude, it's gift.
I was hoping you was gonna go all Terry Funk, and then I was gonna have Batista join in, but never mind.
I think Raven would have said about tonight.
Yeah, what would Raven say?
I personally thought it was the worst show we've ever done. I thought it sucked. Just kidding. It was actually a lot of fun. Yeah. In all honesty, you guys all suck, but it's a pretty good show.
We've gotta get Raven on an episode someday. I swear.
We're starting this thing here with Stevie Richards, where he's dressed up as the Blue Meanie, and you're a fat guy. You know how to work. You have a pretty good mood. Salt, you want the job? That's when he approached Blue Meanie to join the Blue.
Oh my lord! So we got Terry Funk, Raven, and I don't know who the hell I am. I'm nobody. Anyways, we'll see you in 3 weeks.
3 weeks. October, baby. Halloween.